So much media, so little time. Who keeps track of it all? That would be me. This is Bob Andelman, and this is Mr. Media Interview, sponsored by 1-800-DialDJs.com and recorded live on blogtalkradio.com from the new media and home shopping network capital of the world. Yes, folks, that's true. St. Petersburg, Florida. Whoever cast the new NBC show Trauma, airing Monday nights at 9 p.m., must have done some market research when it came to Aimee Garcia, at least based on what I learned about her within my own household. Besides being a beautiful, talented young actress, she is immediately recognizable among several constituencies. My 13-year-old daughter knows her from watching endless repeats of the George Lopez show this summer, where Aimee played Veronica, Lopez's, quote, spoiled brat niece, unquote. That's my daughter's description. So she can apparently draw young people. And the Lopez show also brought her to the attention of Latin audiences as well. She was nominated for numerous acting awards as a result of that show. Now she plays badass helicopter pilot Marissa Benz on Trauma. Here's an audio clip.
Hey! Jump!
Jeez, take it easy.
Take it easy. Marissa Benez is part of the EMT team, and she flies a 212 Utility Bell helicopter. We gotta go. It's a big one, MCI. She is an ex-military pilot. She did 2 tours, Basra, Baghdad, Fallujah, and she is awesome. You know, you are really good. Really good with the medicine. Best I've ever seen.
Really.
You are an irresponsible idiot, okay? And I don't want that to flash on me. She's tough. She's strong. She's sarcastic. Never knew I was fighting for Booty Call Airways. She gets to be one of the few females to run this incredible piece of machinery and fly everyone to safety. She was rescued to a Bay Bridge, climbing northbound Sioux City, climbing to 400. The characters are adrenaline junkies. I think you have to be a little bit twisted in the head to be running toward the fireball when it's burning everybody else. But in the end, they're heroes.
Aimee Garcia, welcome to Mr. Media.
Thank you so much.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. So I got to ask, can Cliff Curtis take a punch?
Well, that has yet to be seen, because while I was ready to punch him after my 1 month of intense boxing classes, the stunt coordinator wouldn't let me hit him. Cliff was like, oh, she's short. Why don't we make this real and really hit me? And I said, okay, and I was about to, sock him one, and then the stunt coordinator was like, no, you have to be at least 1 foot away, and stopped him right on time. So, lucky for Cliff, we have a stunt coordinator who's on it.
You're going to keep looking for another opportunity, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Hey, congratulations on the very kind review of the show, and especially of you in the New York Times. How did that make you feel?
Oh, man, I was walking on air. I mean, the fact that, it's the New York Times, and when I heard that, I just thought, well, yeah, did they review the show? That's great. And they said, no, they actually mentioned your name and gave you props. And so I had this huge grin on my face all day, and everyone's saying, why are you smiling so much? I'm like, oh, no reason. But I was stoked. I mean, it really made my day that someone other than my mom thought I did a good job.
Well, as long as your mom is still in your corner, with or without the New York Times.
Yeah, but it's definitely much more street cred when, New York Times comes on board.
Definitely. Now, let me ask you, I don't know if you heard what I was saying in the introduction, but do you feel like demographics played at least some role in your casting on the show?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I think that a lot of the soldiers, in the front lines in Iraq are minorities, and I think there's a big Hispanic representation, and I love that. I mean, I think that my being, half Mexican, half Puerto Rican, Latin girl has actually really helped me in Hollywood, and I don't see it as a handicap at all. I'm thinking everyone wants a Latin babe on their show these days, so I definitely welcomed that, and it was great. I was the only one they actually brought to network for NBC, so that was another confidence booster when they said, this is our girl. We don't want the network to see anybody else because this is our girl. So I I do think so, and I actually love it, because when I was little, no one really looked like me on TV, so I love the fact that I'm representing a strong woman, a strong Latina who is an Iraqi war veteran, and how often do you see that on network television?
Absolutely. I'd just like to say for the record, I'd like to have a hot Latina babe working in my office, but my wife said no. So, I know how that is. Now, this show is very different, obviously, from Lopez. Is the work, now, obviously, you're not actually flying a helicopter that's called acting, but is the work harder in something like this than it was in a sitcom?
Well, I think it's definitely more physical. I mean, I am physically sprinting down the Embarcadero, and I am inside a helicopter that's being held by a crane 4 stories high, and obviously if the crane operator wasn't professional, he would drop me and I would die. So there's not that kind of risk on the George Lopez show, it's much more contained, we're shooting in front of a live audience on the Warner Brothers lot. So I almost feel like I'm a film because we're on location, and last week's episode, as you saw, we shut down a major freeway in San Francisco and had to deal with what that meant, with people honking in between takes and people walking in the middle of the shot, and the fog rolling over and changing the lighting. So it's definitely much more to deal with. But I actually think that the George Lopez show helped me get this job because of timing. I was told that the reason I booked the gig was because of my comedic timing, which everyone, I guess, went in there and started telling stories about Iraq in a kind of dramatic way. And I walked in just based on my Navy SEAL buddies, who I think are the funniest people ever, and just kind of threw away the story about my buddy getting his brains blown out. And they were like, that's the girl, because I think that when you've really been in the thick of it overseas and you've been in the mud and you've seen what you've seen, nothing compares to that. So your release is your sense of humor, and that's kind of what I brought to her, and I really have to almost thank the George Lopez show for that.
I was going to ask you, do you think that you gained some of your timing from working around Lopez? Did some of that rub off?
Definitely. I think the best comedic acting school in the world is just working with George Lopez. I mean, his timing is impeccable. He is on his feet. You never know what he's going to say, and you have to be ready. And so when I would go to work and have Oscar-nominated Aimee Garcia on my left and, Emmy-nominated George Lopez on my right, I'm thinking, somebody pinch me now. Is this real? And when you're holding your own with those two heavyweights, it makes for the best mentorship ever. So definitely.
Well, I have to ask you, we're going to run out of time, but I have to ask you on my daughter's behalf, what was it like playing Veronica, as she put it, the spoiled brat niece on that show? Was it fun?
It was a blast. I mean, playing a millionaire who only cares about her manis and her petties and her hairdo was awesome. And I love that your daughter likes that show because of people like your daughter, we actually just beat Seinfeld in syndication on Nick at Night. So I think we have, the young kind of demographics to thank for that. So I love that. I mean, we're the only all-Hispanic cast on syndicated television, and it's only because, people like your daughter, who, she's not Hispanic, is she?
No, she's not.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like, wow, we finally have done maybe what, like, the Cosby Show did, and she's like, oh, my God, she's a spoiled brat. I love her. She cares about her clothes. I love her, and I love that she doesn't notice if you're, pink, yellow, brown, or green. So that just made my day, but it was just fun. It was a blast, and, when Aimee Garcia says, let's enter the scene, you piggybacking me, I'm like, well, who am I to deny Aimee Garcia's wishes? So it was a blast. I wish it could have lasted 10 more seasons, but I guess 7 was good enough.
7 was pretty good. Well, folks, Trauma airs every Monday night, 9 p.m. on NBC. You can catch episodes you miss at Hulu.com. And don't miss the lovely Aimee Garcia in repeats of the George Lopez show, airing every night on Nick at Night. You can also check out her new personal website, which is www.aimee-garcia.com. Become a fan of hers. on Facebook. And Aimee, thank you so much for joining us today, and continued good luck.
Thank you so much.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
And folks, for more interviews with your favorite NBC stars, you can surf over to our main website, www.mrmedia.com. That's when you can listen to my earlier conversations with the stars of Southland, Chuck, Parks and Recreation, The Office, Mercy, and many more. Please think about writing an online review of Mr. Media, casting a vote for Mr. Media, or marking Mr. Media as one of your favorites, whether you listen on Blog Talk Radio, Blog Critics, TrueSlant, Pointer Online, Digital Journal, Vox, Mediafly, Podfeed.net, Blueberry, Zencast, Zimbio, Current, or Odeo. Subscribe to Mr. Media on iTunes, and you'll never miss a show. Just search Mr. Media Interviews from within iTunes and subscribe for free. Or subscribe to Mr. Media's blog on the Amazon Kindle Reader. You can also listen with a piece of string and a tin can in many locations. If you've got an idea for a guest, email me directly at bob@andelman.com. That's ANDELMAN. You can also follow me on Facebook or on Twitter, www.twitter.com/Andelman. Thanks so much for joining us today. Always appreciate it when you give up a little piece of your day and spend it with old Mr. Media.